LAFC, and it's in! This is clockwork football! Oh, what a save! ¡Qué clase de jugador! You will not see a better goal! Come on! What a beauty!
They're hesitating. Diamande able to win the ball quickly in for Vela. Birnbaum the defender. Vela back to that magical left foot and he scores! Never mind a save penalty. All he needs is the next chance and LAFC take the lead.
Carlos's first goal against DC says a lot about him because he was pretty angry at himself for missing the penalty. And now when he got the ball with the chance to cut inside, he was able to freeze the defender, and what was special was just how quickly it came off his foot. There was no hesitation, and the ball just rocketed off his foot, and it just shows how special he is when he gets those kind of chances.
Carlos, after he scored that goal, he sort of didn't really celebrate because he was still pissed at himself for missing that PK, and it's just how hard he is on himself and his expectations of himself for the team. That when he scored, he was like, I needed to do this, and it was something, sort of a relief for him.
And Hamid is down to make the save. Second attempt off the post. Third attempt is blocked by Birnbaum.
So Carlos misses a PK, and that's a moment where you think maybe he's going to check out for a second because he's not the type to miss PKs. I think he was pretty close to 100% in his career with LAFC.
I don't think little things like missing a PK like that bother a player of his magnitude. So when he missed that chance, I was like, yeah, obviously it's unfortunate we didn't get a goal right there, but Carlos is a player who creates maybe 10 chances a game, you know? So it wasn't like we were thinking that we were gonna have a lack of opportunities because we had missed this.
But then he picks up a ball. He's got basically Steve Birnbaum just in the deep end. It's one move and then finish. I'd like to imagine what was going through Steve's head once he saw him cut back to his left foot. I think he knew it was over that very second.
Gonna lay it off to Vela, top of the area. Vela on the left foot, the shot, goal! Carlos Vela doesn't miss this time. 1-0 LAFC.
Calling a Carlos Vela goal is extra special for me because you can see his mind working on the pitch unlike anybody else's in MLS. He sees things so early and he reacts so much quicker, and that's just really what the game is about. It's quickness. It's not all about speed, it's speed of play, and Carlos does that better than anybody in the league. Plus he has great moves, plus he likes to pick out teammates. He's not afraid to pass the ball, but if he has the shot, he's going to take it, and that's why it's great to call a Carlos Vela goal, because you never quite know what he's going to do until he's going to do it, and the defense is always left wondering, and that's why he's so good. That's why it's so easy to call goals from him, because he's surprising me along the way.
Miss a penalty? No big deal. Get it back on your left foot in the danger zone and say goodnight, defense. Carlos Vela does it again.
Obviously getting a close-up look at Carlos Vela, you see the quality, the goals speak for himself, you know, with the 11 goals he's got this season, 5 assists, the influence that he has on the game. He's an outstanding player. Difficult to play against if I was a defender because he doesn't play up against you, he goes into different areas, can manipulate the ball very well, and obviously he's on course to be MVP for the season. He's an outstanding player, excellent professional, and he's going to be a great leader for the team.
I think that we can all talk about how great his magical left foot is and how he can always be relied on to put it up in the left upper V. But what makes it really special is we like to call him that ese clase de jugador que él es, right? And to be able to cover somebody that is so humble and continually talks about tenemos que tener humildad como un equipo. He continually says that, knowing how great of a player he is. He's shared with me that in order for them to continue to have progress, lo tienen que hacer con una fundación de humildad. And for me, that's really, really important and just shows you the type of player that he is and the leader he is both on and off the field.
I think Carlos Vela's scoring totals are amazing. First of all, he just has completed one penalty, and that's all his other goals are from the run of play. And that gives so many opportunities. I think a lot of people feel that he is getting these goals from free kicks. He has 0 free kick goals. Guess what? He's going to get free kick goals. He's going to get more penalties. So this number seems to be growing astronomically. Joseph Martinez's goal record, I would imagine, has to be in some peril here because Vela's getting the goals that he's not supposed to. These incredible curves into the back of the net from the back of the 18, the toe post. There are so many ways to score a goal, and Carlos Vela is one of those rare talents that I think challenges himself to do it differently. Left foot, right foot, header. He's done it all. So prepare to be surprised again and prepare for that goal tally to keep going.
Carlos Vela, you're talking about the back-to-back player of the month. The guy's exciting. He scores goals, he creates goals, he brings his teammates into the game. He's a dynamic player in tight spaces, in transition. He's been not the sole reason, but he's been the biggest component of this LAFC team this year and last year. If you're looking for a reason to watch soccer, he's more than enough.
You know he wants a left foot. Vela comes back onto it again. He just sets you up with that little half touch to create the space. This one here, just to get it out of his feet.
I would say it's been consistency has been one of the biggest differences. Not that he wasn't consistent last year, but I feel like he would have hot runs and then he might cool off for a couple of games. Obviously he was gone in the middle of the season for a little bit, but now it's game in and game out. You know that he is going to get his opportunities. He is going to create opportunities for other guys. That move, when he comes out wide and he brings it in on his left foot across the top of the 18, there's so many different options that he can go to. We've seen him whip it into the upper corner. We've seen him set up other guys on the back post. So when I'm watching him, his consistency game in and game out is almost unmatched in this league. There's very few guys in this league that are doing what he's doing on a game-by-game basis.
Vela over the head of Harvey. They've converted. Mark Anthony Kay, return of the Mack for his second goal. And they knocked on the door and they finally kicked it through.
You know, we have an idea of how we want to exploit teams on set pieces and corner kicks. So, you know, we had worked on it in training the day before. I had already scored in a game previous to that in the same place, so it was something that we were all very comfortable with. And when Carlos is able to put a very good delivery in the box, we know that if we're in the right spots, we can really make something out of it.
You know, the scoring the first goal in any game is so important, but the way this goal materialized impressed me so much. Carlos Vela with that wand of a left foot. He was fouled just moments before he went over to take that corner kick and clearly was upset. But when he goes over to take that corner kick, he knew exactly what he wanted to do with the ball. This was something that was planned out in practice, or it was planned out between the two off the field. Mark Anthony Kay made the perfect run inside that penalty area, timed his run to perfection, and of course the connection into the far corner was so sweet. I never quite knew Mark Anthony Kay had that quality from the header in his locker, but when you see a finish like that, you know he's a player who's taking his game to the next level, and we all know what Carlos Vela can do. Terrific cross, terrific goal, and to me it just stood out.
Mark's been huge for us on set pieces. I think he's got 2 now. Against Portland, he had 1 similar, and he does really well of finding that near post space off when he starts off the goalie. So he's one of our triggers when we come off of corners, and he's done a really good job off of that.
Twessel laying it back on the run. Vela, great first touch. Vela into the area, taken down, and they say no call. Corner kick. Drew Fisher says no, and LAFC are livid.
I wanted to go back and watch this goal. The reason it was so perfect is Carlos particularly puts it over the first offensive player, not just the first defensive player. He knows that Mark Anthony is going to be able to peel off there and be more wide open than Jordan Harvey, who actually makes the run a little bit tighter towards the near post. They're right around 6 or 7 yards. Harvey takes a defender and has the defender on his hip pocket, and yet Vela still can put the ball right inch perfect over their heads.
Well, here comes the corner from Vela, right at the edge of the 6, knocked down a goal! LAFC says no problem! Mark Anthony Kay! Second of the season for Kay, and it's 1-0 LAFC!
Easier said than done, and yet he makes it look easy. And to me, it was one of the classiest goals we've seen from LAFC throughout their history. It won't get a lot of attention because sometimes the corner kicks or the free kicks, depending on what kind of play they are. Sometimes they're overlooked, but this was a thing of beauty, this goal.
I love to dance, so I just remember right after he scores, he turns around, looks around, and just gives you that whoa. And I know I'm probably not doing justice. He's a much better dancer than a lot of us here at the broadcast department, but just having that personality on the pitch is so important, and he continues to bring that in. I find him to be a very entertaining player to watch.
So there's a new dance out. I'm not very good at it, but I knew that if I tried it, people would enjoy it and get attached to it. And you're always trying to create an experience for the supporters to try and maybe feel like they can be a part of it. So if kids start doing it, it's something good for them. But yeah, it's just a new dance that's out, and a lot of athletes have been doing it now. So I tried to jump in.
Mark Anthony K, Return of the Mack.
Return of the Mack is a 1990s hit single by Mark Morrison that I think maybe the younger generation is not familiar. I have a very funny story about Return of the Mack. I used to think that they said Return of the Man, and I was at a Starbucks, and it was on the thing, and I started going, Return of the Man, and some guy, a patron, grabbed my shoulder and goes, please, it's Return of the Mack. A silly story, I wanted to share it with you, but that's the origin of what I said. So you younger kids, listen to it, get it on your Spotify or iTunes, listen to the song, it's a great jam, and Mark Anthony K, M-A-K, the Mack, so it sounds good to me. If you like it too, it'll stick.
I haven't heard it at the bank. I think that they should play it when he scores, just be the only player with a single, his own one. With the whoa at the beginning, just like you throw your hands up and it's just like a party right away.
¡Qué gran remate hizo Mark Anthony! Dice con la cabeza, inteligentemente. La pelota venía cayendo después del centro de Carlos Vela.
Mark Anthony's game has grown tremendously since the first time I saw him in preseason last year. A large part of that, and almost full credit, probably goes to Bob. Help working with him on positioning, amount of touches, spatial awareness, and then his aggressiveness, not just on offense but defense. I think that's been a huge bonus for us, and a huge part of our success is his defensive range, being able to cover ground and close down people. So it's not just his passing ability, which people are highlighting right now, and the 3 assists that he got in the game against Seattle, but it's his defensive responsibility that he's helping guys out left and right. I love when he's on my side because he's able to close down people and really allow you to be more aggressive because of his abilities.
Honestly, I just love this kid. I love this guy. I'm so happy for him. I'm so proud of him. He told me a couple of weeks back he wanted to equal what he did last season, kind of in terms of numbers. And obviously, if he continues on the pace that he's on, he's going to do that with no problem. But I go back to Mark Anthony K last season before he got hurt, telling me about how Bob Bradley, and a lot of players tell me this, how Bob Bradley wants him to be prepared when the ball comes to him. And now it's becoming second nature for him. When the ball comes into his feet, he's already shaped his body so that he doesn't have to take extra touches, doesn't have to go through extra movement, and you're seeing him be that much crisper, that much cleaner in the middle part of the park. And I think that's why he's having success, is it's becoming instinctual for him. And he is certainly a big piece of LAFC and what they're doing.
I had 2 goals last year in half a season, so I knew that coming in this year I wanted to match that total and maybe double it or triple it, right? I think whenever a midfielder can get at least 5 goals in a season, it's very good, and it helps the team, right? Not just the defensive plays or the assists, but I'm not being too hard on myself. I'm just trying to take it in stride, and when I have an opportunity, hopefully I can finish it. I think maybe last year I put a little bit too much pressure on myself to get some goals, and I missed some key opportunities when I had them. So now I'm just trying to go with the flow of it and just let the game come to me.
Ramirez, back heel, K, roll back in for Ramirez. What a goal! What a performance! What a team!
Diego took his touch backwards and sort of was looking in. I knew I had to be an option for him, and I looked over my right and saw Carlos was holding the back line back and keeping them honest. Then I took a glance to see where the center mid was on the other side, which was Mark at that time. So I had a picture of what was going on, and Diego fired a ball into me. so I knew where my options were immediately.
Fue una jugada de equipo, ¿no? Donde se vio lo que nosotros planteamos, la idea de juego, y bueno, salió una muy buena jugada donde obviamente Cristian fue el principal.
I knew already where Mark was going to be, so in my mind I knew I had an option to Carlos around the corner or Mark backwards if my touch was where it was.
When he back-heeled to me, I already knew exactly what he was going to do, that he was going to spin off and try and go behind. And the fact that everyone was so focused on me and not paying attention to him, it was just a very easy ball to just slide back into him.
K going back to Ramirez, goal! Oh! 4-1 LAFC, and this one might be the best of them all!
Every goal is about timing. And so as you receive the ball, you've got to recognize quickly, is it a first-time pass, or is there value in just holding it a second to give the attacker a split second more to be in position, or for that opening to get a little bit wider? And so I think the best midfielders just have a feel for the timing of passes, and I think that's an area where Mark does really well for us.
The way that the ball was set up, it was just easier for me to open my hips instead of closing it, and I think Stefan was sort of guessing on me closing, which made it easier to just pass it in the corner.
Are you kidding with that goal? That is team football to perfection. Christian Ramirez, he is the happiest man at the bank right there.
Strikers need to score. That's what they do, that's what they're paid for, and I know that they get antsy, they get irritable to be around when they don't. The funny thing is Christian was doing so many other things well, even when he wasn't scoring, but over the past few weeks you could tell it was wearing on him and he was starting to lose a little bit of those other things. But this game he really turned it around. He took to heart what the coaches were telling him to get more involved. And he was involved, and I think even if he doesn't get that goal, it's probably one of his best games for LAFC because he was so integral to everything that happened, spacing the field, getting Carlos Vela into spots. But to allow him to get that goal, it's just going to reinforce what he was doing is the right thing to do, and moving forward, it's just going to keep going up and up from there.
In all our discussions with Christian, we talked about him being more involved in the game, coming off defenders, finding ways to move with the ball, make passes, and then of course still in the right moments get into the box and be a threat. There are different ideas with different teams, but we don't really want a striker that every now and then gets a goal but touches the ball 5 or 6 times in a game. We want to make sure that the striker is involved both in attack and defense. And you know, I think it was just reminding Christian of how much more he can do to be involved in the game.
It was a beautiful finish, and for all his teammates to be involved, it's one of those things where you pump your fist, but it had to be cathartic as well for Christian Ramirez. And we know in soccer it's such a cerebral game, and if you can clear your mind of those things and know that your teammates are backing you up and you know you can put the ball in the back of the net when it felt for a while you couldn't, that's got to be huge for him, which is huge for LAFC.
Great first touch, open up your body, pass it home. 4-1, what a performance from LAFC once again.
Christian has been working extremely hard, and when he was able to put one away, I think it was a huge weight off his shoulders. He's a great finisher. We all shared that moment with him because we know he's been working so hard and he deserves every single goal and every chance he gets.
K rolls it in. Vela, great control, scores!
It was a quick turnover after we counter-pressed, and I made a run off the other angle, and Carlos took up the 9 spot, and Mark sort of looked me off because Svensson cheated to it, and it opened up a window for Carlos.
I understand the movement of Carlos. He loves to come from outside to in, and I knew that Seattle wasn't doing a very good job of pressing our midfield, so I had a lot of time on the ball, and I wanted to, you know, make a big play in that situation, and luckily I found the right window, and Carlos's touch was very good because, you know, I could give that ball to a lot of other players in this league and they might not be able to take it down as well as he did.
Mark had a really good way of sort of looking forward but knowing that that angle pass was going to make a big difference. As it came, Carlos's first touch set him up, and I didn't know how he was going to finish, but he pulled a new one out of his hat, because on this one, it was a real quick toe poke with so much power that Fry had no chance of that.
Hey, great pass! Vela in the area, shot! Goal! Carlos Vela!
Sabemos que Carlos es un jugador especial, ¿no? Entonces él puede, como decís vos, convertir de diferentes maneras y obviamente lo sabemos. Y bueno, respecto al gol, creo que fue un buen pase también de Mack, y obviamente con el control Carlos ya se llevó al defensa y definió muy bien.
I love this finish. I like the toe poke. I know that after the match, somebody asked about Carlos. We tell kids not to hit it with your toe, but man, you got to score any way you can. And for him to hit it with his toe and it just explode off his toe is quite the finish. Fry, when you hit it with your toe, Fry doesn't know if he's curling it. He doesn't know if it's going straight. He just kind of has to react. And the pace he had on that ball basically left Fry for dead.
A magnificent pass and an even better finish from Vela, his 9th of the season. You will not see a better executed play from anybody around the league than you just saw that. Wow.
You know, being on the field, you obviously get the best view of every single goal. And whenever there's a goal scored, especially with Carlos, they're amazing goals. And, you know, I usually look across the field either to Beta or one of the defenders, and we kind of share that moment of excitement. And then it's a beeline to the group down near the goal and a little celebration. And so his goals have been amazing, and I enjoy each and every one of them.
He is red carpet LA type talent, but his teammates like to get involved, but they don't have to do extra work for him. I think some of the superstars of Major League Soccer history, they had to fill some gaps. They had to, you know, okay, he may not put that effort there. I don't want to mention any names, but Carlos Vela is not one of those guys. He is an active participant, and I think that creates a great synergy with his teammates where they find him, and guess what? He finds them.
When your captain is setting the bar for what needs to be happening on the field each day at training and in the games, it just raises everybody's level.
He sets the standard very high for each player individually. You know, we see what he's capable of doing, and we see how much work he puts into his own game, and it kind of gives us a sense of where we should all be, right? So I think that when Carlos is playing so exceptionally well, you know, it's for the rest of us to step up our game and make sure we can match that. Because if we all have all our guys playing like that, then we will most likely win almost every game.
What I like about him is he always looks like he's having a good time playing. Whether he's missing a chance, whether he's being fouled, you never see him ever look ruffled. You know, he plays with a smile on his face. He's enjoying every single moment of being on the pitch. It doesn't help that you're scoring incredible goals.
Vela with a shot, the corner! Exquisite from Carlitos!
And I love that he's embraced the challenge of being the big player of this team, being the face of this team.
Well, I've said it so many times before, LAFC hit a home run when they picked this guy as their DP, and we saw it in season 1. But now here in season 2, he just continues to get better and better. As I say on the broadcast, whether it's on radio or TV all the time, I'm like, what is this guy gonna do next? Maybe to use an Alicia Keys line, this guy is on fire. Okay, maybe I went a little too far, but no, he's been phenomenal. He's been everything it's been billed to be for LAFC. And I just love the leadership qualities of this guy, both what he does with his teammates, but obviously he's tremendously talented with what he does with the ball at his feet.
There's a lot of players that score a lot of goals and get a lot of things done. It's often the manner in which that they do them, the style points, you could argue, the casualness, almost like a nonchalance about some of the audacious things that he does, that he tries, that he's able to deliver on. For me, covering the sport as someone who's coming from the music world, from the arts, who typically tends to write about people and less about sports and statistics, that's like the beautiful game in a nutshell, is watching someone elevate sport to art. And that's what we're seeing a lot with Carlos Vela at the moment.
See how about what's been happening with DC down it so far. Katie down on that field, what are you hearing right now?
Well, this DC bench echoing everything that Stu Holden has been seeing from them. They're saying every opportunity LAFC has had has been off of a direct...
Vela's cross, Rossi scores! Diego Rossi there. Quick giveaway in the middle. outside of the left ball from Vela.
We did very well to lock them down on one side, to make it very predictable on where the next pass would be. Walker made a good step, played me, I got my touches right, played Latif, who ended up playing Diego first time, and then Diego played it out to Carlos. And as soon as it got to Carlos, I understood that we had a real chance to be on counterattack, and that means just run as fast as you can.
Fue una jugada donde yo recibo la pelota, avanzo con la pelota, se la abro a Carlos, que ya estaba en carrera, y bueno, me tocó a mí correr hacia el arco y que Carlos me ponga esa muy buena pelota donde por suerte pude hacer el gol.
Latif to Rossi, who's going to lay it out wide on the diagonal to Vela. Vela racing towards the 18. Rossi's making the run in the middle. Rossi shot, goal! Vela hits him and Rossi scores from 6. It's 2-0 LAFC!
From the second that he played the ball off, he knew that if he ran really hard that Carlos would understand where he was going. And so the understanding between the two players was really good.
But I think Diego's work ethic to get in the box, not knowing if he's going to get the ball is just amazing. I think that's what Bob is trying to get us to understand, that, we need to be unselfish in certain times and just run hard, because, that run might create space for someone else, and maybe on the off chance that run, you get a goal.
Probably not one other person who's faster than Diego in this league, so when he gets going, it's hard to stop.
Diego Rossi's goal against DC United is one of my favorite goals of the season, maybe my favorite, and this is why. Firstly, because it was a huge game. Everyone was talking about tops in the West, LAFC, tops in the East, DC United. Secondly, when Rossi made that play, this is a goal that the entire DC United team had to put their head down because they were all involved. The midfield, the defenders, the goalkeeper all had to be like that for a moment.
Carlos Vela otra vez, de zurda, manda el pase. Es gol, es gol, es gol. Gol.
Well, Diego is, I believe, one of the best players I've ever played with. I see it firsthand because I'm always playing him the ball from the left side, and his movement, his intelligence at such a young age, I think is the most impressive thing. And he's clinical in the box, which is very rare for a young player. And so I think the sky's the limit for Diego, and he's one of the players that, along with Carlos, I'm in awe of each and every game, and I enjoy not just playing against the training, but on a game. It's always nice to go into battle with guys like this on your side.
Mira, para mí Diego Rossi, la forma que él juega, tiene una dinámica y una química muy importante con, claro, obviamente, Carlos Vela. Y ver a esos dos jugadores, the way they play off of one another, to all of us, it's really a true joy to watch. And es joven, tiene energía, y para mí, a mí me encanta poder verlo jugar, porque él también ha mencionado que él ha aprendido mucho de Carlos Vela. Entonces, ver esa dinámica tan orgánicamente and the way it has organically developed between Carlos and Diego is really something that I think fans are really lucky to be able to experience.
If you ask me, I don't know right now there's a better tandem in Major League Soccer than Rossi and Vela. They both hit double digits in goals last season, and there's no question that they're both going to do it again this season, obviously. Because Carlos is so good, it allows Rossi a little more freedom, I think, and it gives him a little bit more of carte blanche to move in and out of spaces at times because eyes are so focused on Vela. So, I really don't think we've seen the best Diego Rossi we've seen in an LAFC uniform yet.
Number of players. Diamande went off injured. Won that tackle. Ramirez now for Rossi, sitting on a hat trick. Hamid couldn't keep it out. It came off a giveaway. And Diego Rossi, 3 goals today. LAFC with 4. It is an absolute rout.
Diego Rossi is like sort of this unsung, quiet, understated type player who's playing underneath another understated, unsung, quiet type of player. I think it's the perfect person for him to learn from, because you can see how a player with that sort of demeanor, someone who doesn't want all the spotlight, can still contribute and perform really well and have like their own private life and be, cool and chill off the field. And on the field, you can be a leader. And so even though he's not the most quiet, vocal guy, I think we're seeing him deliver and seeing him and Carlos work together better and better every game.